Hi folks, it's Wendy from Fingersticks Gallery again. So in lieu again of our chameleon blow up that is going across the internet right now, I'm going to do another chameleon pour for you. The last one that I did was this guy and it turned out super cool. It's a swipe, but it's dry, but it is shiny with oil. There is so much oil on this canvas that if it weren't for everybody being so interested in this technique, I wouldn't do this again. I tried wiping a little bit of it off and it's actually pulling some of the paint with it. So I don't know. It's a cool technique, but it's kind of a pain. So my last one that I did was the negative space floating cup, and it's beautiful. It dried well. I don't know if you can make this out in the corner, but to me it looks like a giant dog. And there's a bug right in the middle of it. Oh, and he's dried. Oh, you poor thing. He was partly dried to my painting. So anyway, the ear, eye, nose, and his mouth looks open. That's kind of what I see. So anyway, it turned out really great. The negative space, I'm turning out that I really like the negative space. It has a lot of personality, a lot to look at. Anyway, that was the last one. And this is on the board, the canvas board. They warp really easily. So what I did was I wetted the back and I spray painted this with, I think it was Rust-Oleum's Paint and Primer in 1. And since we're going to use some green, I thought, although you're not going to be able to see the canvas, might as well paint it the same color. So, I'm picking some colors that a lizard or a snake would have. So I don't know how it's going to work out. This is the tool that we're going to be using for to make those cells. So what we're going to do, it's a 9mm round holder. It's what your ammo comes in an ammo box. So it just holds the ammunition separately. So, sorry, my dogs were barking at absolutely nothing. So the theory is, and this is how it works. Usually you can take a comb, a brush, where you set this in the paint after you dip it in the oil is where those individual cells are going to be. Basically, it's controlled cells. So I'm going to dip this in a little puddle of oil. That's pretty much what that is. All right. Swipe colors. My swipe color is going to be, and I must have put it away because now I can't find it. It was going to be silver. Oh, here he is. Silver, I did put it away. It's already mixed with Floetrol, so I just poured it back in the bottle. None of these have any oil in them. So we're just going to randomly, I had a bunch left over. Nothing has oil in it. It's just paint and Floetrol. This is kind of my, it's basically my normal consistency. I had a lovely artist write and say that she's tried it and I think she failed, but I also mentioned using a little thinner in the swipe color, and that helps out quite a bit if your swipe's just a little bit thinner. So I'm going to use up some of the colors here. And again, none of these have oil, so this is just a straight pour with no oil. And snakes need some light green, right? I like snakes. Oh, that's a little thin. Nope, that's thinner. Okay. I'm going to use actually 2 colors for my swipe. I'm going to see how that turns out also. This red, or this pinky color, is actually the Color Shift paint from Folk Art. I really love it. It's one of my new favorite things. I really love metallics, and this one has a ton of metallics in it. But that Color Shift paint, boy, when you get it out in the sun, it really looks pretty. And since this is a swipe, you can touch your paints, help it around just a little bit. So you definitely want to cover your whole canvas with paint. What you don't want it to do is puddle up, because puddling for a couple different reasons. It's hard to create those cells. They kind of, the paint's just thick and it's just not a good way for those cells to come up. And then for two, it'll dry quicker and it won't crack as bad. So don't let your paint puddle up or have too much paint in one spot. But at the same time, on the other hand, you want to have enough paint to where your cells are going to come up. So, you know, it just comes with time. It's hard to explain the ratios. I've done it with a ton of paint. I've done it with, you know, not as much paint. And there really is a happy medium right in the middle. You just have to play around with it. And I want some more pink right up here. So these are kind of crazy, off-the-wall, oddball colors, folks. It's more to show you the technique than the color combination. So, okay. All right, now for the silver. That is already thinned down quite a bit because I added more Floetrol to this guy. And then this black is thinner also. So we're going to do the black and silver for our swipe colors. And lately, when I do a normal swipe, I've actually been trying to only put the oil in the swipe color itself. And I love it a lot more. It has, I think, a lot more personality. Okay, then we're going to swipe. And I use a glossy sheet protector. Works pretty well for this. Now, it's already starting to, well, it's not starting to warp. It was already warped a little tiny bit. So we'll see how this works. Yeah, it's not sticking very well right there. Help it along a little bit. Also, to do another little technique that looks kind of neat, if you swipe it side to side like that, it looks really cool. But we're not doing that today because we are doing a chameleon. Okay, so I already have a preloaded little tray full of my, it's just the regular silicone treadmill spot on that I think a lot of us use. And so here we go. This works so good without using a comb, because a comb would take bloody forever. And this guy goes pretty quickly. Now, they make, of course, so many different round holders. If you guys are shooters at all, which we are, 44s, 9s, 380s, 40s, you name it. There's so many different sizes. My good friend Brian gave me this. We went shooting the other day, and so that's why I'm using the 9mm, and it actually works really well. And if you don't have one of these little gizmos laying around, a comb would work very well too. I've seen people use combs. So that looks neat. I like that with the pink in there. And normally I don't typically like to use this many colors that are metallics because I think they kind of get lost and they can get muddy. But I just had a bunch of random stuff laying around and I thought, snake colors, why not? So you can also control where you put these as well. If you do your paint just a little tiny bit thicker, because you're always going to get some sort of bubbles coming up. You could take like a pen or the end of a pencil eraser and dot maybe someone's name, or you can do a heart, or you can control where you put the cells. Now, you can't do it every single time exactly where you want them, because there's always going to probably be some sort of cells that come up due to bubbles or due to the pouring medium. But this will continue to move around and morph a little bit. So I'm going to bring you guys in for a close-up, but that's really as easy as the chameleon is. I also want to try a pastry sealer. They're about this big and they have the serrated edge on a handle. It looks like a pizza cutter but with little teeth. And move that sucker around and see if you can get some cool textures. So anyway, folks, this is the Chameleon pour that it's my second one. So hope you guys can try it and love it. It's really fun with a controlled cell. So hang on, I'm going to move you. And although the lighting is kind of lousy, it looks really neat. So those colors and the different colors in the swipe are going to continue to kind of morph and ooh, this is pretty. Do some really cool stuff. So anyway, don't ever be afraid to be a beginner. Please, if you're scared or apprehensive, jump in and do it. You're going to love it. Nothing is ever a failure. Everything is just a learning experience. So comment below, guys. I'd love to hear from you. And until next time, you will see me soon.